What is happening, mi gente? I think we should be live. Say what's up if you're in the chat. How we doing? How we looking? How we feeling? Say what's up as you are trickling in. You already know what time it is. We're helping you build your Dynasty teams, grading your Dynasty teams. And if you want to be a part of that, all you have to do, as you can see in the pinned comment below in the description, go to flockfantasy.com/land, select the Mother Flocker tier. Make sure you link your account and we will get you on this list immediately. This is probably going to be one of our last live streams. I would say that we're going to be doing this on Keep Trade Cut. We might have one or two more next week, but then we're going to be transitioning to our Flock Fantasy website where we can see on my teams where some people have already transitioned into that, which is really exciting here. A whole new system. Honestly, very similar. I would say even better than Keep Trade Cut, guys. So definitely stay tuned. Once again, say what's up if you're in the chat. I'll give you a nice little sneak peek here of like, I can go to my teams here. I already imported one of my teams, but you can see, right? Like this is a team that we just did, the Echo League. Gives you my ratings, what do I have, my 25 first, second, and fourth, where I'm kind of standing right now. Looks like I am fourth, overall fourth in this league, which is awesome. So we're going to be transitioning to that here very soon. We're actually just in a meeting. The boys are actually still in the meeting right now, talking about things and we can improve. So this website is getting better and better each and every time. But like I said, this is going to be one of the last times we'll be doing it on Keep Trade Cut. I would say pay me one or two more streams, and then we're going to be transitioning to the Flock Fantasy website. But definitely sign up, guys. Use the promo code LAND, get the Mother Flocker tier, and this is the type of things you can have access to when you do sign up using our promo code, which is awesome. If you guys know, if you guys been with us, Zach is not here. He's been out and sick this week. He will be back next week, which, from what I'm hearing, which is awesome. So appreciate each and every one of you here. Still obviously, curious on your thoughts on stacking. Love stacking. I think don't overdo it. That's what I would say. I like to have a stack or two, but not something that I am going to be, forcing. I guess you guys can see this. I have I had the wrong screen up. Not something that I'm going to be forcing when it does come down to creating my Dynasty teams as a whole, because hey, I'm not going to say, hey, I got Jalen Hurts and then my second pick in my Dynasty startup, or trying to trade my feature first to get someone like an AJ Brown. No, I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to wait and see what happens to me, or what falls to me there. Josh says, what is due? Badaki, how you doing, Joshua? How's everything? Here for the personal opinions and great content. Honestly, come on. In my personal opinion, I know you guys roast me all the time about that. I'm trying to get better. All I can do is get better each and every day. Nah, it's all love though. What's happening, Jones? Timothy, what's happening? Once again, say what's up if you're in the chat, and we're gonna be going straight into these Dynasty team reviews here. So we appreciate each and every one of you, and let's get this reviewing on the road. We are going to be grading a couple teams here today, of course. As I kind of get these guys going, we do have guys like, let's see, who do we have here? Big Dill and Hantheman are going to be up today. Those are the two teams that I'm going to be grading. So once again, if you boys are in the chat, say what's up as I am getting this all set up on my side. What's happening, Tex? So how long does it take for you to get your team reviewed after you have submitted? Well, it all depends. Have you submitted your team? Have you sent us a message? I think a lot of people don't know that, like, once you sign up, it's really hard for us to get in contact with you, because unless you link your Discord, and unless you link your Discord and you kind of go through all those things, or submit your roster review or put it in the fantasy hotline, it's going to be a little bit difficult, right? So definitely keep that in mind. But normally, if you do surpass and have a little checkbox, so when you do sign up, it says you don't want that 7-day free trial. Normally we can get your team reviewed depending on how many people are ahead of you within that same week. So if you signed up today, Alex, we can probably most likely review your team most likely in sometime next week, depending on how many people are in front of you. So keep that in mind. Andrew said, yo, big deal here. That's what's up. What's happening in the role? Is Zach coming today? Zach won't be with us today. Once again, he's still sick. He just came to be part of the live stream yesterday when he was doing his rookie drafts. So keep that in mind. But we're gonna get this team rolling and going here with Big Dill. Once again, appreciate you, Big Dill. And let's go through this here. 12 team PPR SuperFlex non-tight end premium, 4 passing touchdowns, 3 wide receivers, and a flex. So you can start up to, looks like 4 wide receivers in this league context. Couple of years into a rebuild, a trade I got done recently. I received Drake London and a 24 112 for Jerome Ford plus Jonathan Mingo and my 24 first, my 24 second. So let's read that again. Recent trade is receiving Drake London and the 112 and you sent Jerome Ford, Jonathan Mingo, your 25 first and your 25 second. I'm okay with this trade, especially with Drake London is kind of valued right now. Drake London, honestly, before the NFL draft, he was valued as high as the top 6 pick. Now I think there's a massive range for Drake London. If you get a top 6 pick for Drake London, that's great. But if you get a top 10 pick for Drake London, that's also great. And you also got an additional 112 here, and we know how much that is valued. So if you got the Drake London side in this trade, I am really happy. I'm talking with league mates who has inside information about how our draft is going to go down. He said he would trade me the 105 for the 108 and the 112. I told him I would agree to it if Malik Neighbors is still on the board. Please let me know your thoughts on this and how I can improve my wide receiver room. You see your draft capital here. No 25 seconds. Okay. The Fighting Pickles. Before I get into that trade scenario, actually, let's get into it now. He said he would trade the 105 for the 108 and the 112. And it looks like you really want Malik Neighbors here. And I guess, actually, I have to kind of go into it to see what your team looks like, to be honest with you. So let's go to this Power Rankings tab. The Fighting Pickle. So let's break it down here. Once again, you can start up to 5 wide receivers or 4 wide receivers. 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. And the reason why I always say 4, because we like to start wide receivers in that flex position, right? I think it gives you that competitive edge when you really break it down here. So let's have a look. Justin Herbert, Anthony Richardson, Matthew Stafford, Gardner Minshew. This quarterback room is phenomenal. You don't have to do anything. I just zoomed in there so you guys can see a little bit better. I don't think you need to do anything or change anything when it does come down to this quarterback room. So I would just stay put when it does come down to that. The running back room, Breece Hall, Brian Robinson, Rico Dow, Kenneth Walker, and then Israel Abanikanda. I think this is a decent room. Look, you do have a heavy hitter in Breece Hall, and then Brian Robinson is a good, I would say, low-end RB2 who does have some decent upside, especially coming into this year. But that role with Olsen Eckler is going to be very interesting to see how that's going to pan out there. So I would say that RB2 is not the strongest, but at the same time, Rico Dow is also a low-key winner here. They do pick up Ezekiel Elliott. I know they're kind of projecting him to be the starting running back. Zeke couldn't stay healthy, or Zeke couldn't really take on that workload last year with Ramondre Stevenson. I think we saw him struggle. I think we only saw him surpass double-digit points, I would say 3 times in that span that he did play, which was barely breaking 10 points, right? So Rico Dow is also very interesting player here. So let's not undervalue him and overlook him, right? So once again, you can start to 4 wide receivers: Drake London, Jahan Dotson, Michael Wilson, and the list kind of goes down from there. Look, with that trade for you really wanting to get Malik Neighbors, and I'm a Malik Neighbors guy. Getting that 108 and having that 112, I think is pretty significant here because it gives you depth, right? At the 108, you could get someone like a Roma Dunze potentially, like a Brian Thomas Jr., like a Lab McConkey. At the 112, you can get an Xavier Worthy. I mean, they're all fall in that same range. You can get an Xavier Worthy, Lab McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr. You know, however way you want to go from there. I think having the depth at the wide receiver position instead of losing 2 wide receivers and trading up for Malik Neighbors still doesn't help you at that wide receiver position. Now, I can say, Dill, which is Andrew here, you did say you do have these other picks. You didn't say, but you do have these other picks, which is very interesting. Now, can you get some good players here at the 203? That is, you know, Keon Coleman range in some leagues. That is a Jonathan Brooks, a Trey Benson, a Michael Penix. At the 205, you can get a Ricky Pearsall and or an Xavier Legette. At the 209, a Jalen Polk, right? That can be a Troy Franklin, a Roman Wilson. I think I'm willing to keep that 108 in the 112 personally because of the depth that this team needs. This is a start. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a start 9, and you don't have the depth at the wide receiver position. So I'm keeping those picks and going best player available, but we could definitely have talks of the scenarios if you were to trade the 108 and the 112 here. And Dalton Kincaid. Right, Dalton Kincaid is a phenomenal guy. I'm going to be making a video about Dalton Kincaid and why you should be trading for him. That video is actually coming out tomorrow morning for you guys. 5 player you should be trading for in Dynasty right now. So definitely stay tuned for that. Dalton Kincaid, I see a tremendous outlook for him going into the 2024 season. I'm not a huge Keon Coleman believer, and I do believe he will be going into a Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews type of role, and that's being overshadowed and overlooked by that Sam Laporta rookie year, to be completely honest with you. So stay tuned for that. But let's get to the whiteboard here, which I'll pull up here in a second. But look, I think this is so far a decent team, and we're going to be seeing how this is going to be panning out for you with all these draft picks. So let's get this up and going, and I'll tell you exactly what I would be doing. So you do have a 26 first, 26 second. Looks like you don't have any of your 25 picks, which is okay. So let's see here. Let's get this going. Let's zoom in here for you. Okay. Once again, wanting to stick and pick here in this scenario. Stick and pick at the 108. Like we said, a huge range. Sometimes we see players fall, especially in our league. Roma Dunze could potentially be there. Bo Nix. I know, we always say go best player available. Roma Dunze, Bo Nix, Xavier Worthy can be in this range as well, especially with that boost with this Rashee Rice news. That's pretty big. Now, I think we just saw Xavier Worthy got the 108 or 109 in our rookie drafts in the Echo League. So that was a huge difference compared to him going at the 112. And Lab McConkey here can definitely be somebody that can be in contention at the 108. I'll just kind of mimic this here. Xavier Worthy, Lab McConkey. I didn't put Brian Thomas Jr. here, so BTJ in that mix. I would say Xavier Worthy, Lab McConkey, and I would say Brock Bowers, depending on where he falls. We saw Brock Bowers, once again, in our other league, go at the 112. So this range is pretty big. I mean, you can even see Benson's and Brooks here's in that range, but let's put him at the 203. Let's put that at the 203 here. Benson, Brooks, I got Benson at the 203 in I think, if I'm not mistaken, my Delta League. Benson, Brooks, Penix, is also in this range. At the 205, we have Pearsall, Leggett, Coleman, Keon Coleman is in this range. I would even throw Michael Penix in this range as well. I think it can range even to the 205. 209, this is a huge one. Corm, Polk. We see Troy Franklin went like at the 205 in our other league. Actually, in our league, our draft yesterday. Corm, Polk, Franklin. Who else do we have? Corm, Polk, Franklin. Let me pull up my rankings here. Just double check who I have in that range. But you kind of understand where that pathway that I'm going here with some of these players. Honestly, this list is huge. This could be Burton. This could also be. We see Lloyd goes in the late second. Marshawn Lloyd. At the 305, best player available, best player available, best player available. And I think if you were to stick and pick here, Andrew, this honestly instantly changes your team if you think about it, right? Let's just say you get Brian Thomas Jr. here. Then at the 112, you get an Xavier Worthy. At the 203, let's just say you get Benson instead of Brooks. Okay, classic, right? Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, Benson. Let's say you get Coleman, right? Because Coleman falls to you at the 205, but Pearsall and Leggett went. At the 209, you get Polk. That instantly changes your team. That now you have more depth at the wide receiver position. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers that you can plug and play week 1. Drake London, Jahan Dotson, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk. Instead of you trading those 2 picks at the 108 and the 112 going to the 104, I would rather hold. Now, if you're telling me you're going to start 8 and you only have 2 wide receivers in a flex position, then it's a different conversation. But I think something like this is a perfect scenario. Now, I do want to give you the scenario where you were to trade that away, right? Because you might be interested. Trade up. You might be interested in doing that, right? So you acquire the 104, and let's just copy this. You acquire the 104, and then was it the 104 or 105? The 105. And if you are saying Malik Neighbors is going to fall, then you go Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors, look at the difference. Look at the difference that you have there if you were to go with this second round, right? It's not, you don't have the depth. Let's put that in this purple. Hopefully it doesn't hurt you guys' eyes. Malik Neighbors, Trey Benson, Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk. Now, it still is enough, right? Malik Neighbors, Coleman, Polk. Neighbors, Coleman, Polk with Drake London and Jahan Dotson. I guess depending on how you feel about Jahan Dotson, I'll just say you give Jahan Dotson a second chance coming into the season. But it doesn't give you the depth that you needed compared what you could potentially have if you have a Brian Thomas Jr. and Xavier Worthy, a Coleman and a Polk. Those two guys, those two bodies make a huge difference in this lineup here, especially in a start forward type of wide receiver opportunity. And not only do you get a wide receiver, you could get a running back here. And that can be a running back at any point in time. Like if you don't get Benson at the 203, maybe you grab the Penix at the 203. You can still have the opportunity to get a Blake Corum at the 209 and still have decent depth when it does come down to this. So in my opinion, I'm willing to stick and pick here rather than trying to trade up. Now, looking at your team and any things that you need here, You are 7th, which means that this league must be stacked at the top. Kyler, Russ, he has a 103, 110. Jameer, David, Tyreek. See, this guy is stacked with wide receivers, but it's probably because of his draft capital. Jalen Hurts, 101. He's getting Caleb. So this is, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. These guys up top, these guys are, I mean, this is probably feels like the best team. CJ, Josh Allen, running backs are not the strongest, but he has opportunity there. AJ Brown, Debo, Adams, Diggs, Terry, with TJ Hawkinson, Michael Mayer. I mean, TJ Hawkinson might be tough depending on what's going to and when he's going to be healthy. So look, you are a competing team, I would say. I think you're definitely in that conversation, especially after this draft here. Andrew, please let me know if you have any other questions. If you want any other questions to trade up or trade down. I like the trade for Drake London, clearly getting that 112, sending Jerome Ford, Jonathan Mingo, and your 25 first and your second. You get a first and you send your first here, and you most likely going to be a competing team, which hopefully that's a late first. Maybe that's the one, 108 later. Let's say you don't win this year, but maybe that's a second half first there for Drake London, who we both believe is going to be a top pick or a top contender this year. Yeah, I'm definitely sticking and picking here. What's happening, Michael, Maddie? How you doing? Another Knicks stream. I mean, hey, how about those Knicks? Came back in the second quarter. Something special is happening. What's happening, WG? Alex, that should be fixed now. We were just talking about that on a call. So that should be fixed. Maybe refresh it or maybe log out, log back in. But if not, please send us a message on the fantasy hotline. Or send myself or Zach a message, and we'll definitely get to you when it does come down to that. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, we will be transitioning to the Flock Fantasy website, most likely not in this stream, maybe not in the next stream, but the stream after, sometime next week, we will be transitioning to the Flock Fantasy website, and we're no longer going to be doing our breakdowns on Keep Trade Cut. Because I gave you a nice little preview of what this is. This is my Echo League that I just drafted. This is going to be the new breakdown, and it gives you rankings. And we're going to be doing the exact same thing that we do in the Keep Trade Cut, but just on our Flock Fantasy website since it's in beta mode. And we're just ironing some other stuff before we actually go through that. So keep that in mind. Andrew said, you made a convincing argument with the stick and pick. Good points with having depth pieces at wide receiver might go that route. Yeah, and I think that is probably the best bet. And look, the 305 and the 305 to the 307 could be valuable players. Like, I'll even bring up my draft here in Echo. It's our most recent draft. This is our Echo. Like, you're not going to get terrible players. Javon Baker fell at the 306. That's another starting wide receiver there, right? You can get Ray Davis at the 307. A Jatavion Sanders, who is a starting tight end here. Just depends on how your league views some players. So definitely keep that in mind. You can get a Roman Wilson at the 303. I mean, I got Roman Wilson yesterday at the 303. So I'm pretty content about how my draft came out. But third rounds, I keep saying to people, are still valuable, but only in the top half of the third round. From the 303 to from the 301 to at least maybe the 303, I would say are locked in players that you would like, and then it kind of falls off. Like Javon Baker fell to the 3-6 there because people took McMillan and Sanders, maybe that they didn't really see where Javon Baker had went. But I like Baker and his situation and what could potentially come. But once again, anything could potentially happen there with Javon Baker if he does fall to the 303, if he does fall to the 305, and whichever running back, wide receiver, or tight end that you do require within those third picks. I would just say this. If you want to package these picks, which I will say, like, you can package 305 to 307 for any second. Look, I don't know who's doing that, but if you can potentially get that done, I'm happy to do that. Any second in 2024 specifically, okay? Any 2024 second. I know you have the two. I mean, honestly, even if that's the 212, that may sound crazy, but you're telling me I can get a Blake Corum at the 212 for those three players? Blake Corum makes a huge difference. You're telling me I can get a Jermaine Burton at the 211? Once again, it can be any player or any spot in the second round. I'm willing to do that and trade up because of how great this class is, and that gives you more depth, right? Well, technically, you lose the depth if you give up those 3 picks, but you get a higher tier player. So I think that is something that I will be willing to do. Maybe you can get more for that. Like maybe you can say any 24 second plus a 25 third, right? That is, maybe I'm underselling it. Maybe I'm underselling it here, but start here first and then maybe work your way down and saying, hey, that's just too much. All right, let me just get any second, right? Like, oh, I don't know if I can give up my 25 third for that. Like we're never gonna see a draft like this where literally you can get incredible value at the 303. I got Roman Wilson, a 3rd round wide receiver, at the 303, who's going to instantly be the wide receiver 2 in an offense. Jalen Wright with an opportunity. Malachi Corley, in my opinion, with an opportunity, who I love coming in. That's who I wanted in that draft. Try to trade up for him. Blake Corum at the 212. Jermaine Burton. I mean, like, you see this second rounds, and this is just ours. Yours will look completely different. Players will fall differently. We've seen Bo Nix fall at the 210 in follower leagues, right? So this is, once again, these are just scenarios that could potentially happen in your draft here. But once again, Andrew, let me know if you have any other questions or any other thought process that you had here if you were thinking about your league. But this is a decent team, especially after this draft. Your team is going to be competitive, and you're going to see something really different. Let's see what your team looks like with just starters, because you're probably going to be, yeah, so you're still in the middle of the pack here. Imagine when you have these guys. Imagine when you have these guys on your team. That changes everything. Your running back room can get stronger. Your wide receiver room is going to get stronger. But yeah, this is a great team, man. This is a really good team. I really like this team. I'm excited for you in what it's going to look like after your NFL, your rookie draft here. Guys, this is not a live show where I'll be answering questions. If you want to throw a super chat in, you definitely can. But we're going to be focusing on some of these team grades and, helping these guys, giving these guys my undivided attention here. I'll be becoming independent, wealthy, but can't come in top 12 upside, in my opinion, wide receiver. Do need some bodies. You just wait for that message. If not, we're going to go to our next team review here, which is going to be Hantheman. I know he just said he's at work, but that's okay. But I'm happy to wait and see if Andrew has any other questions here. But as we're waiting for that, guys, if you want to be but if you want your Dynasty team reviewed, all you have to do is sign up at the Flock Fantasy website. That's really going to help you and myself understand what you need. And let me pull up this. Let me just copy this here and just put it in the chat. If you go to flockfantasy.com, select the Mother Flocker tier, that's exactly how we can get you signed up and your team reviewed for you guys. I'll even show you how simple that is here. So go to flockfantasy.com, select the Mother Flocker tier, use our promo code LAND. Make sure you link your account and then send your team review in the roster review or put in the fantasy hotline saying, hey, how can I get my team reviewed? And you can get unlocked all these perks. A 2024 rookie report, which we've just completely broken down the whole 24 class. We gave you our thoughts, team reviews, not team reviews, rookie reviews when it comes down to, our graph trades and profiles, RAS scores, and so much more on our rankings, our fantasy hit rates. Not only do you get that, obviously you get the team reviews, you get our rookie rankings, our best ball rankings, our in-season rankings, a personal DM to myself and Zach. So that's also really exciting there. Andrew said, no questions right now. Thanks, Becky. No worries, man. And if you have any other questions, please put it in your fantasy hotline. We'll definitely be glad to help you there. So we appreciate you. And I'll send this context to you as well, to your fantasy hotline. Big deal. There you go, brother. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. Sorry, I'm just catching up on something here. Okay, going to the next one is once again Hantheman. Appreciate you, man. And the man's been with us for a couple years now. Not mistaken, maybe just over a year. As I get his league up here. Okay. Let's get this up. All right, Hantheman, once again, appreciate you. It says 12 team Dynasty SuperFlex full PPR non-tight end premium start 11. 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and 4 flex. So that means you can start up to 6 wide receivers in this league, which I do believe is pretty important. Rebuilding team last year, accumulated lots of picks and young players, C20-25 capital. Also got lots of quarterbacks and no running backs. What move should I make? Stick and pick. What players should I go after? Ramondre Stevenson, Henry Pacheco, and Najee owners are not willing to move off any for a second, 25 second. Any other running backs worth targeting? Planning on going Martin Harrison at the 102 and either May Daniels and Neighbors at the 105. Having a hard time deciding who to pick for Neighbors or May Daniels are available at the 105. Okay. All right, well, let's have a breakdown of this team here. This is a pretty big starting lineup, a start 11, starting up to 6 wide receivers, which is pretty significant here. And he does have the 102. I don't have a team name here. So I look, okay, 102, 105. There you go. He's team number 1. Deshaun don't touch down there. Okay, so he does have significant draft capital, which is awesome. And let's kind of break this down. So he has 125 first, 225 first, which is awesome. A 26 first. He has all of his, looks like he has all of his picks in 25. 26, 26. Okay. And he has some decent capital in 2024. Okay. Well, let's break down this team, Han. And once again, if you do have any questions, use the fancy hotline since I know you're not here. I know you said you were at work, if I'm not mistaken. But that's okay. We'll break it down here. Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, Jarrett Stidham. I think your top 2 guys are phenomenal, especially with the third quarterback in Bryce Young. If Kyler Murray goes down, if Jalen Hurts go down, I think we have all learned our lesson coming out of last year. I think we saw over half of the league's quarterbacks go down in injury. So having a third quarterback is crucial in fantasy football this year. And I'll say moving forward, so keep that in mind. Running backs, Breece Hall, Keaton Mitchell, Deuce Vaughn, and the list goes on there where there's nothing else. Breece Hall is the only starting running back on this roster, and this is somebody, like you said, a running back room that definitely needs help, but maybe we can get help here in this draft. The wide receiver room, Chris Olave. Remember, you can start up to 6 wide receivers. Chris Olave, Drake London, Devonta Smith, Jamison Williams, Dontavion Wicks, Rashid Shaheed, Trey Tucker. Look, guys that we like. I say these are 4 wide receivers here that you're saying, okay, have a good starting foundation. Jameson Williams, somebody that I did bring, saying you should give him a second chance. I know he didn't have the best fantasy outlook for the past 2 years of his career, but giving him that second chance. I guess you can say third chance. I guess people were kind of saying, well, he got a second chance, but technically he didn't. I think he can see more workload going into the 2024 season. Now that, you know, we've seen Dan Campbell say, we're going to open up a little bit more for Jameson Williams and get him going now that he's been through the adversity, now that he's been through the concern. So keep that in mind when you think of this. So this is a good foundation with Sam Laporta, Dalton Schultz, Michael Mayer, Tucker Kraft, decent, really good tight end room. So you're good at the quarterback room, you're good at the tight end room, you have decent depth at the wide receiver room, and now you have the 102 and the 105 here with Breece Hall at the running back position. So let's break this down. You did say, which we'll talk about, and I know you did say something along the lines of, let me just do this because it's just going to bother me. He did say, which I'll put, he said, I'm going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 102 and either Mays or Daniels or Naves at the 105. So Marvin Harrison Jr., May, come on, what's going on? May, Neighbors. I know he said Neighbors. Am I blanking out? Who's the other one? May Daniels or Neighbors at the 105? I mean, if Daniels goes at the 105, I'll be pretty, Lance at the 105, we'll be pretty surprised. Normally we would say maybe JJ. That's what I would say. But hey, you know your league better. Maybe something like that could land to you here. Pick 11, a broad range here. Let's say Brock Bowers. And we will always say go best player available. So whatever your rankings say, go best player available. Sometimes you get Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, Lad McConkey, right? 205 here, a really good range for good players. Let's go Pearsall, Leggett, Penix. Those are the guys there. 211, a big one. Franklin, Corm, Polk, Burton, Lloyd, and 307 and 30 best player available. And then BPA, best player available. Okay. So this is a stick and pick scenario here, especially with your starting lineup. So definitely keep that in mind there. I see a question in the chat here from Spencer. Hey, Spencer. So let me just pull this up here. Why is this not coming up? Sorry, brother. Just give me a second as I go to answer your question. Just trying to make sure that I have this popped up here so when other people see it. So if I were to sign up now, do you think you can get mine done tonight? Look, but I would love to. We have other people ahead of you. And not only that, if you were to sign up and you don't surpass that, I guess that if you don't click on free, like surpassing the free trial, then we have to wait until your free trial ends. You do have a couple people ahead of you. Depending on how many people are ahead of you, you will be getting your team reviewed most likely next week. But what you can do is, which we also tell a lot of people, is you can sign up, and if you do make sure you choose that you want to not get that free trial, and that means that payment goes through immediately. We can set up your fantasy hotline and answer any questions that you have right away. So definitely keep that in mind as well. So let's say you have your draft coming up tomorrow and you know we're not going to be on live stream. we can do our best in answering those questions for you on our fantasy hotline, but you won't have the in-depth conversations that we would have here on the live stream, maybe going back and forth and getting like our real thought process here, as you can see. But hopefully that helps there, Spencer. Sorry about that, but we just want to be fair to everyone else that has signed up and making sure like everyone's in order and skipping the line, or no one's skipping the line. So we appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. But Hantheman, looking at this team, automatically going to change here. Yeah, you get Martin Harrison Jr. I would say you get Drake May at the 105. I don't think Daniels is going to be there at the 111. Let's just say you get an Xavier Worthy. No, let's say you get Lad McConkey, Martin Harrison Jr., Drake May, Lad McConkey here at the 205. Let's say you get Leggett at the 211. You get Corm. And once again, this instantly changes your team here. So you get Marvin Harrison Jr., you get Drake May, which is another addition to your wide receiver room, or quarterback room, excuse me. Then your wide receivers is Chris Olave, Drake London, Devonta Smith, Jamison Williams with Marvin Harrison Jr., Lad McConkey, and Xavier Leggett. And you can start up to 6 wide receivers, and that's 7 starting wide receivers that you have already, excuse me, at your disposal, which is really exciting here, and not including, you know, maybe the wide receiver that you get at the 306, maybe the wide receiver you get at the 307. And it may not be guys that you can lean on, but guys that can bring you more depth, right? Like you look at the 306 here, Javon Baker. You know, some people like Tez Walker. Some people can get Luke McCaffrey, a second-round wide receiver, went in the 4th round where Zach got him. So these are some things and some pathways that you could potentially go here. But I will say, since you do have decent quarterbacks, Drake May here is not a force. And why not try and trade out? Why not try and trade out of that to that 105? Trade back, you know, because I think that it could be really, really helpful there. So at the 105, you know, what can you get? And let's look at this. Let's look at the team here. Since you're number 1, like, can I get to the 107? Let's see who has the 107. That's 104, 108. That guy has 108. That could be interesting. See, I don't know if you can get the 106. Look, I'll try this. Can you move back 1? Because this guy has Justin Fields, and maybe he wants Drake May. Maybe he wants, like, you need to find out. What you need to do, Hantheman, is find out what this guy needs, who he loves. Does he love J.J. McCarthy? Does he love Drake May? And if he loves either one, that's the guy you're taking. Well, actually, that could be reverse psychology. But I'm just, like, trying to be like, hey, what are you doing here? Be transparent with him. Look, I'm going to take Drake May, the best player available. And if he wants J.J. McCarthy, that's fine. But if he wants that 5th, and if he wants to move up for that 1 spot because maybe, you know, Malik Neighbors does fall to him, sure. So I would say 105 for the 106 plus, let me just take this from bold, maybe plus a 201. And a lot of people may not like that. You know, like, can I do that 201 to the 105 plus the 206? You're just doing pick swaps, right? You move up 1 spot, and some people would do this, some people wouldn't, right? So you send that 105 and that 205, and you move up to get the 201, and you're guaranteeing yourself a Trey Benson. You're guaranteeing yourself a Jonathan Brooks there. That's a perfect trade for you there, which I think is phenomenal. So you can do another trade here as well. Let's see, what else does he have? If he doesn't want to give it the 201, I'm happy to do the 202 as well. Right? Honestly, I'm happy because I'm really happy with either Trey Benson or Jonathan Brooks, because of this running back room. Right? You look at your running back room again. Breece Hall, Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks, or Jonathan Brooks. That instantly changes your team there. So I'm really happy with either one. You obviously want to get the higher pick, and so you can make the decision. So keep that in mind. So I would also say we're looking for that 107. Let's look for that 107 here. 207. Where's the 107? Oh, here we go. Jared Goff and Nye Mitchell. This is a perfect team potentially to move back for. I'm just trying to see what you can do here. So 105. So we want something like this. 105 to the 107. Now what can he add to move up to that 105 to secure that quarterback? Because he knows he's going to be out of that quarterback range. And if he wants another quarterback, sure. The problem is he doesn't have great pieces. Like, he's not going to do it for CeeDee Lamb. He's not going to do it for Mike Evans. And I don't want an aging asset here either. Look, what about Spears? Let's see what Keep Trade Cut would say about that, and the Flock Fantasy website would say about that. Let's see what the community would say. My league, 12 team, SuperFlex, non-tight end premium. You can start up to 4 wide receivers. And you have 2 bench spots, 2 quarterbacks. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 4 flex. So sorry, 4 flex, 2 wide receivers. I think that makes a difference. Okay, so 105. No, you received the 107 and Spears for the 105. Let's see what this says. It says you lose there. Let's see what Keep Trade Cut says. Spears 105 or 107 for the 105. So Spears is winning on this side. So it's just different thought processes here. And once again, I'm not in love with anyone on this team outside of CeeDee Lamb. Now, if you wanted to get Mike Evans here to compete, because maybe you feel like you're a competing team, which I do believe you will be a competing team if you get these right players. But Mike Evans is a dying asset, so I'm not necessarily sure if I want to be acquiring somebody like that. I doubt he's going to be giving you a 25 first, which he doesn't look like he has, or a 26 first, which he does have. I'm not sure if he's going to want to do that, but I'll put that on the list as well, right? 105. I mean, hey, maybe he is willing to give up an extra first. And we saw Zach do this essentially yesterday. Kept moving back. He moved back and got an extra first there, right? And a 26 first. 26 first. So you can move back, still get Roma Dunze in this scenario, and then get a 26 first. This is more ideal here. I'm going to take this Spears deal out because I don't necessarily love that deal. But there's no one else here that I'm willing to give up. Now, can he give up the 105? I mean, look, this could be interesting. And we just saw, somebody in the fantasy hotline just gave a deal like this, but it was more the 101. Can you give the 102 plus the 105? And get CeeDee Lamb? Get CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. I think this is just, maybe I'm shooting for the stars here. Get that CeeDee Lamb. And that 107. I don't think that's going to do it, actually. I think I'm shooting for the stars. I think I'm shooting for the stars here. But let's see. 105, 102, 105 for CeeDee. And that 107, according to Keep Trade Cut. That's a fair trade. That's a fair trade, brother. Let's see what they say here. So you get CeeDee Lamb, you get the 107, and you get the you send the 102, and the 105. Let's see what the community thinks about that. It says you win. That's more of an even trade compared to what we saw last time. So I think this is also very favorable here. Getting CeeDee Lamb, you send the 105, the 102 and the 105 for CeeDee Lamb and the 107. Not only do you get a proven wide receiver who's in some people's eyes, wide receiver 1 in Dynasty or top 3 wide receiver in Dynasty, and the 107 in Rome Odunze. This is a really interesting trade that I would love to do, to move up to get a proven guy. And look, I've been saying this for a lot of people. I get it. Marvin Harrison Jr. feels like an absolute guarantee, but it's not absolute guarantees for everyone. I know it's the lineage, his bloodline with his father and the situation that he's going to, but CeeDee Lamb is proven already. So if you're saying you would rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. over CeeDee Lamb, that's saying you would rather have unproven production versus proven production. So always keep that in mind when you're thinking about it, because I know a lot of people would rather have that. And some people, and this is the top 3 guy in Dynasty. So keep that in mind when you are thinking about this trade here. I think that is a perfect one there. I don't think I want to move back any further. So you move back from the 105 to the 106, you have options. To the 107, you have options. Let's look at the 108 team, just in case there's somebody there. But 108 feels like a bit too far back. 108. Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson. This guy can 100% use another quarterback. Okay, let's have another conversation here. Let's have another conversation. For the 108, let's start from the top. Blank slate here. For the 108, what can he give us in return? He needs a quarterback. This is, once again, this can be a Rome Odunze if he falls, a Brian Thomas Jr., a Brock Bowers, and Xavier Worthy. That all plays within that. At the 108, someone took Xavier Worthy in our Echo League most recently. This is our most recent rookie draft. Obviously, with the whole new conversations of Rashee Rice, you need a running back. Can you get a Travis Etienne? Plus Etienne, I don't know, maybe that's not enough. Can you do the same trade? And can you get, I think he has Zay Flowers. Can you get Zay Flowers? Once again, is that enough for some people? I don't think you can get a Bijan Robinson. He has a 25 first. Can you get the 108 and a 25 first? And let's look, I want to use this as an example still. So you received the 108 and Travis Etienne, and you send the 105. Let's see who wins that trade. It says you're robbing them, according to Flock Fantasy. Okay, let's try Zay Flowers. And we're going to do the same thing on Keep Trade Cut, according to the community. You're winning with Zay Flowers. And then a 25 first. Let's just put that mid to late. You slightly win. So this is all fairly even values, even trades for the 25 first, right? So now you do Travis Etienne and the 108. Just to give you, I want to see both communities, right? You want to see our community and Flock Fantasy, and I want to see what these guys are gonna value it. So according to Keep Trade Cut, that 105 for the 108, that Travis Etienne and the 108, just for the 105 is a complete overpay. Okay, now Zay Flowers, a complete overpay. And a 25 first, 25 mid first, a complete overpay. So you see how the community is viewing some things differently here. I think all these trades are worthwhile. I think this is something I'm willing to do because I know the type of caliber player I'm still going to get at the 108 plus the addition that I can get. Once again, you're getting a Zay Flowers. It's going to be a massive addition to your team. You're getting a 25 first, hypothetically. That's also going to be a good addition to your future team. And the 108 at the running back position, if you are ready, where you already need another running back. So you get a Travis Etienne And then at the 108, you get, let's just say, an Xavier Worthy because you believe in what's happening over there with Rashid Rice, and he's not going to be a future problem there. So these are some really good trade back options that you could potentially be doing here. And if these guys say, hey, I want something in return, don't be hesitant to throw in the 211, right? I will start at the 211, and then I will go to the 205 is tough because it's such a valuable pick. But you're still getting a first round wide receiver and basically a high end second round running back in return. So don't be afraid to add the 211 or the 205, but start with the 211, then work your way up to the 205. Maybe do the 211. Hey, I'll give you the 211 and the 307 to get this trade done for Travis Etienne, because, you know, respectfully, even though I kind of been talking up to 306 and 307, at that point it's kind of dead, right? At that point in that third round, mid to late third round pick, you kind of want to move on from that and see what else you can get to move up as high as possible. So keep that in mind, Hantheman. I think this is a perfect scenario. I'll just make sure that there's no other questions and no other scenarios that you do have. Make sure I'm answering everything. And let's kind of run through this, right? In this scenario, let's just, in this scenario where you do trade out from the 105, let's say you get Marvin Harrison Jr. And let's just say you do the 107. Do the 107 and you get a future pick. That's Rome Odunze. Okay? You get a Marvin Harrison Jr. You get a Rome Odunze. At the 111, let's say you get Lam McConkey. At the 205, you get an Xavier Legette. At the 211, you get a Blake Corum. This is another scenario that you can have. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., Lam McConkey. Marvin Harrison Jr., Lam McConkey, Xavier Legette, Rome Odunze with Chris Olave, Drake London, Devonta Smith, and Jamison Williams. Now, at the running back position, you have Blake Corum and you have Breece Hall. So you don't necessarily build too much at the running back position, but you still get a running back that we believe in going into the 2024 season. Now, I would even throw this one in, right? Let's even throw the Etienne in and take out Rome Odunze. Okay. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., Lam McConkey, Xavier Legette with Chris Olave, Drake London, Devonta Smith, Jamison Williams. At the running back position now, you have Blake Corum, Travis Etienne, and Breece Hall. So, hey, these are some really good ways that you can, take it to the next level when you are looking at some of these opportunities here. And someone said, how about those Cavs? Did the Cavs win? Because I wanted them to win. I haven't been watching the game. I've been doing this. But hopefully that helps, Hantheman. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, please use your fantasy hotline. And guys, if you want to get your Dynasty team reviewed, all you have to do is go and sign up to flockfantasy.com/land. Use our promo code LAND. Select the Mother Flocker tier and then link your account. Okay, link your account, and that's how you can sign up and get what you have been seeing here all live stream. We're going to be doing this in order. This might be one of the last live streams that you see us using Keep Trade Cut. We're going to be transitioning to our Flock Fantasy website and that team review system that we have created over there, which has been phenomenal. It's been in beta mode. We're just trying to iron out a couple of things, and we're most likely going to see that transition going into next week. We might do both of them, both of these Keep Trade Cut and Flock Fantasy at times, just to get both of the communities value like you saw myself do today. But if you want to unlock so many more perks, just like the Dynasty team reviews, our 2024 rookie report, our fantasy hotline, our grades, our fantasy hit, our rankings, the fantasy hit rates, the trade show, which is also going to be coming back here as well. Once again, flockfantasy.com/land. Use our promo code LAND, select the Mother Flocker tier, and that's how you can join and sign up and get all these perks that you're seeing on your screen here today. That is it for today. I will answer 5 questions and 5 questions only. Okay, since this is a little bit of a shorter stream, I will answer those questions here as I am. So make sure and it will be after this vlog fantasy, the comment that I just put in the chat here. So put in any questions that you do have, and we'll kind of get into that here. And Hantheman, I'll send you those scenarios on Keep Trade on your fantasy hotline. Okay, and just make sure I don't forget that. Okay, that has been sent. Sorry guys, just making sure I do that. So the Cavs did win. Let's go. The series is tied. We need the Cavs to win, because if the Knicks win, obviously we play the Celtics or Cavs. Am I wrong? Am I right or wrong there? No, yeah, we play the Celtics or Cavs. So if the Knicks win, clearly the Cavs are the weaker team, and I don't want them to I don't want them to go against the Celtics. So that would be awesome if that could happen here. All right, answering some questions. Answering some questions here. Once again, 5 questions only. Starting with Idaho. Maybe I'm tripping there. Do you play in any dynasty best ball leagues? None that no, I don't play in any dynasty best ball leagues. We do play in best ball leagues though. We do have an underdog code, promo code. So if you want to play an underdog, even though that's not dynasty, you're more than welcome to use that. That is the same thing on promo code LAND. But we do just more long form dynasty leagues instead of best ball. So yeah, that's question number 1. Ethan, best win now running back to trade for? Oh man, there are plenty. First 2 guys that come up to mind is Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon. Those are some great win now running backs that you can go out and try to acquire right now, and see how they can return, you know, what they can be bringing back to you. I would also say low key, or, you know, not low key, but let me bring other names before I give you low key. Alvin Kamara is a nice win now. Aaron Jones is also somebody else. James Conner, Devin Singletary, Raheem Mostert. There are some really good names there, but a low key one that was doing research yesterday for video that I was going to bring, but I ended up not bringing, is the Pittsburgh's running backs. Najee Harris, Jaden Reed. These guys have some good opportunities going into the 2024 season, especially how that offensive line has improved and how they've been building that offensive line for the past couple of years. But it just wasn't strong enough to kind of bring. So it's just more of a thought process and how you can see those guys kind of build up there. So just, it's not more win now, but like, hey, I think they can be significantly better with this new offense and this now even improved offensive line going into next year. So hope that helps. That's question number 2. Wyatt, do I trade 25 first and a 25 second for Devonta Smith? CD is my only wide receiver on the roster outside of rookies Ladd, Worthy, Polk, McMillan. It's a 12-team SuperFlex start, 6 wide receivers. Look, I'm kind of indifferent about Devonta Smith. I don't love the idea of trading my future 25 first and second, even if you have multiple for Devonta Smith, because of the way I'm envisioning that offense. You have AJ Brown, you have Dallas Goedert, you have Saquon Barkley now, and Devonta Smith. I find it really difficult to see Devonta Smith being a primary target for Jalen Hurts. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be of relevance. I'm not saying he can't be a top 20 finish, but I think that's probably the best that he can be. I don't know if he can finish within that top 10 range or close to that top 10 range that we saw, you know, not last year, but the year before, 2 years ago now. I mean, this past year, Devonta Smith finished wide receiver 22. He was averaging 9.2 fantasy points per game, and you weren't happy on a week-to-week basis to start Devonta Smith. You were really skeptical. You were really back and forth on whether you should start him, but you still believed in him because of the high-powered offense that he was playing in. So for me, I wouldn't love that trade. If I'm selling a 25 first, I'm looking for a higher wide receiver. You know, I'm looking to get a Chris Olave, a Drake London, a Jalen Waddle, a Brandon Ayuk, a Tyreek Hill. Especially if you can give you 25 first and second, a Garrett Wilson. You know, how can you get one of those guys? AJ Brown. Devonta Smith more feels like a high-end wide receiver 2 than a wide receiver 1 where you need wide receivers to start on your team, right? I know you have these young wide receivers, and you just said start 6 wide receivers. So having CD, Devonta, Ladd, Worthy, Polk, McMillan are your 6 wide receivers, and you can't even start McMillan with confidence. So just keep that in mind. Spencer says 1 quarterback, full PPR, 10 man. I got picks 1, 2, 201 Harrison. Should I trade the 102 neighbors for the 104, 107? And try and get a combo of Doomsday, Brock, Worthy, McConkey, and Coleman. I personally would be keeping neighbors in a 1 quarterback league unless you have a massive starting bench like you just seen here with Wyatt. Like if you're telling me this is a start 10 and a start 8, I'm keeping neighbors. But if you're telling me this is a start 11, I'm happy to trade back and then potentially get a Roma Dunze and the combo of those other guys. If you know how the board is going to fall there, Wyatt or Spencer. Okay, well that was 1, 2, 3, 4. We got one more question if anyone's out there, but if not, I'll probably call it quits there since there's no other questions. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support. This is start 9, so like I'm still happy to keep Malik there personally. It's not going to be that big of a difference depending on your other wide receivers. But yeah. London, Addison, Tank. Yeah, I'm happy to keep it. All right, last one here. Say Christian Watson, Geno Smith, and a 25 third for Jordan Addison. Which side are you taking? I'll be taking the Jordan Addison side. If this is a SuperFlex league, SuperFlex is 1 quarterback. I think Geno Smith could return some good value for you. I think you can get more. I would say this. I would take the Jordan Addison side, but if you are giving up Christian Watson, Geno Smith, and a 25 third for Jordan Addison, I think you can at least get a second in return with Jordan Addison. I could be wrong, but maybe this is my valuing of Christian Watson and how I believe he's going to have a good bounce back year. And Geno Smith, same with Geno Smith. I mean, you have to remember not a couple years ago, not this past year, but the year before. So I guess a couple years ago, he finished the top 5 quarterback. He was averaging nearly 19 fantasy points per game. He was somebody that everyone wanted. He almost won comeback player of the year. So, I mean, he had one bad year and now he has the offensive coordinator coming out of Washington. And he has 3 top wide receivers. So I think he can get more, but maybe I'm being greedy in my bias on that. But hopefully that helps. All right, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. We have another live rookie draft with the Foxtrot League, which is going to be exciting. That one is going to be drafting on Monday night your time. So the next time we'll see us live will be Sunday night, doing more Dynasty team reviews, and then we're going to be doing a rookie real draft on Monday morning. So once again, appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Make sure you drop a like on the way out. All love.